After being pregnant, my husband became infatuated with a young and delicate secretary. On New Year's Eve, my husband and his secretary, dressed in a red cheongsam, were having a New Year's celebration in a private room. After I crashed the event, the secretary raised her snow-white neck, which was covered with a circle of red hickeys. Sister-in-law, don't get me wrong. The new year is coming. I'm removing bad luck for he, the husband complained when he was disturbed. Your pregnancy doesn't satisfy me. I'm a normal man. I'm a normal man. I have to take care of my physical needs. Lily is just trying to help. 7 months pregnant. I was so angry that my water broke. But the secretary said I was deliberately wet oneself to disgrace my husband. My husband was so ashamed of me that he locked me in the toilet. He decided to end the punishment after spending 3 days and 3 nights with the young secretary. But later he went crazy when he saw my shriveled belly. One New Year's Eve, husband Ethan Hart met with a group of brothers for New Year's Eve. And I stayed home because I was pregnant. I received a message from Ethan Hart near midnight with an address. Honey, there's a surprise for you. I rushed to the clubhouse with my 7-month-old belly to pick him up. The euphoria was doused in a pot of cold water. In the smoky, glamorous room, Ethan Hart's secretary Lily Young's eyes were glazed over and the tips of her ears were red. She sat on Ethan Hart's lap, innocent and charming. Ethan Hart's right hand full of veins tightly gripped the woman's waist. Lily Young's cheongsam has long been hung to the waist. Shoulders half exposed. The red cheongsam was customized by Ethan Hart at the Suzhou embroidery master when I got married, and it was one of a kind. But Ethan Hart had secretly taken it out to stimulate me, and Lily Young's thin white waist stung my eyes. Brother, he hurts me. Slow down, the little goblin who is not what she says she is. Pestering me for 5 times a day, pretending to be innocent. They were kissing like nobody's business, and the people around them were not surprised. I think I know who sent that text message. Ethan Hart's group of brothers are holding a little girl in their arms and watching the scene playfully. Will Sky teased. Little sister-in-law's New Year's Eve robe is so hot. No wonder New Year's Eve brother he was willing to leave his sister-in-law behind for the appointment. Ethan Hart put his arm around Lily Young's waist and let out a breath of air as he smiled softly with hooked lips. A man should marry a virtuous wife and keep a beautiful mistress. If Sophia Qiao can't let go of some of her positions, let's find someone who can. I know how to prioritize. And Sophia Qiao is fat as a pig and sloppy all the time after she got pregnant. So I don't want to see her like Lily is. Lily Young's small hand circled around Ethan Hart's chest, pouting in dissatisfaction. What do you take me for? I'm a good girl from a good family, yes. 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 My good girl, Happy New Year. Ethan Hart took out a valuable diamond necklace from his pocket and stuffed it into Lily Young's messy cheongsam. It caused the girl in his arms to keep giggling. Someone joked. Brother, he has gone too far. Aren't you afraid that your sister-in-law will divorce you when she finds out? Ethan Hart was not amused. So what if she finds out? She loves me so much and she's carrying a baby, where can she go? Then came the unpleasant sounds of their flirting. I'm the best. My stomach convulsed as I felt a wave of nausea and I pushed the door open with a pale face. The laughter in the room was broken by my arrival, and Ethan Hart quickly grabbed his jacket from the couch and draped it over Lily Young. I felt the irony and clenched my hands into fists angrily. What? She's afraid to show her shoulders when she has the nerve to ride you in public. Don't talk nonsense. The little girl is thin-skinned. Lily Young, who was protected by him, looked at me provocatively. Sister-in-law. We are staying up late on New Year's Eve. New Year's celebration. New replaces the old. Everyone rounded up and winked at me to give Ethan Hart a step down. Sister-in-law. We were playing truth or dare, and we got a little too drunk. Well, punish ourselves with 3 cups to make amends, so you can forgive brother he. Too, I didn't show. Ethan Hart looked ill at ease and slightly reproachful. What are you doing here? Didn't I tell you to stay home and recuperate? My heart felt like it had been stabbed by 1,000 needles. I couldn't believe that the man who had once cheerfully set up the nursery with me was now escorting another woman and bad-mouthing me. Tears slid down my cheeks and my lips pursed hard before I spoke. "Ethan Hart, you said it. Those who betray shall not die." Ethan Hart grimaced. "Sophia Qiao, you show some respect. Lily and I are just rubbing it in. You were fat as a pig when you got pregnant, and I did you a favor by sleeping next to you while I was nauseous. Besides, who in our circle doesn't have 3 wives and 4 concubines? At least I still plan to return to my family after you give birth." I touched my stomach and a wave of sadness grew in my heart. After I got pregnant, I inevitably became fat and edematous, and my legs swelled up into carrots. I had cramps in the middle of the night, and I was tortured by morning sickness and couldn't sleep the whole night. My skin, which was originally fair and delicate, gradually became rough and yellowish, and Ethan Hart became impatient and worked overtime in the company every day. Especially when he saw the ugly stretch marks on my stomach. He did not show his face and his eyes were disgusted. For the sake of the child, I pretended not to see his changes. I always think that it will be fine when the baby is born. But how can he take my suffering as a capital to belittle me when I am working so hard to bring up a child for him? I shouldn't have to settle for a lousy man for the sake of a child. "Ethan Hart, let's get a divorce." Ethan Hart's towering face froze in an instant, and his tone was unmistakable. "Where can you go if you are pregnant with my child? As long as you live in harmony. The position of Mrs. He will always be yours." Looking at my broken and sad expression, Ethan Hart softened his tone. "Be good and obedient, and I guarantee that the He family's child will only come out of your belly." Lily Young twisted her waist and disgruntledly said, "Brother He, don't make Sister Qiao angry for me. She's still carrying your child." Ethan Hart pinched Lily Young's slender waist. "That woman doesn't give birth to a child. She's the one who's pretentious." Looking at the dog man and woman who were flirting in front of me like no one else, I couldn't stop myself from starting to twitch and retch. Vomit. The residue in my stomach vomited out, and Lily Young, Ethan Hart, who was closest to me, bore the brunt of it. Lily Young, in particular, was in a sorry state with her coat covered in acidic vomit. She took off her jacket with red eyes and cursed. "Bitch, did you do that on purpose?" I was furious and slapped her across the face. "Bitch, who are you talking about?" She pushed me hard in anger. "Brother He, you have to do it for me. The New Year's Eve robes you gave me are stinking." Ethan Hart warned me as the waiter brought hot towels to clean up the stains on them. "Sophia Qiao, stop in moderation." I was pushed so hard my center of gravity was unsteady and my thick body fell heavily to the floor. Bloated, I struggled to get up in a comical position. It drew a lot of teasing from the people in the room. "Brother He, doesn't your sister-in-law look like a turtle when she can't get up? Or a fat turtle? Ha ha ha." My eyes grew sore, and before I could be embarrassed, I only felt my stomach begin to throb with pain. A warm current gushed out from underneath me and I looked down. The carpet under my feet was soaking wet. Not good. I instinctively turned toward Ethan Hart for help. "Honey, get me to the hospital. I water broke." Ethan Hart's whine sobered up a lot. He got up in a panic. Pity and remorse flashed in his eyes. "Honey, don't be afraid. They'll take you to the hospital right away." Lily Young's conspiratorial exclamation of surprise came from his ears. I really envy Sister Qiao. No matter what lies you tell brother, he will believe you without hesitation. Ethan Hart shook off Lily Young's small white hand wrapped around his waist. His voice was like ice. "Get lost. If anything happens to my wife, you'll be the only one to blame." Lily Young, who was shaken off, was weakly lying on the sofa, and she kept rubbing her red silk-clad paws against Ethan Hart's calf. "Her brother, can't you see? Joe is just too excited wet herself. She's only 7 months pregnant and her water hasn't broken yet. His buddies shook their heads in disgust as they scad and scad. I've heard that pregnant women are often incontinent. So it's true. You can't even control your own urine. No wonder brother he is looking for little sister-in-law. He banquet's movement to hug me stopped, and he let out a sigh of relief. What followed was the annoyance and disgust of being teased, picking up the pillow beside him and smashing it against me. Isn't it disgusting? In order to compete for favor you are capable of using any unorthodox means. No, I'm really going to give birth. My stomach hurts. His eyes coldly watched me wailing on the ground, his tone sarcastic. Pretending is pretty decent. If it wasn't for Lily waking me up, I really would have been fooled by you. Lily Young's eyes were all leaps of joy as she jumped into Ethan Hart's arms and pouted. Humph. I'm the smartest little secretary you've ever had. My voice shook with pain. Save me. Child. Save the child. Please help me call ambulance. Will Sky snorted. Sister-in-law is also open-minded. Anywhere size pull still want to waste medical resources. Lily Young added more fuel to the fire. If outsiders find out that Mrs. He has been wet oneself in public, what's going to happen to Mr. He's image? Sister Qiao, you are too ignorant. The smell of cigarettes in the box made me dizzy, and my heart was cold. I couldn't count on anyone. I do not care about the pain coming from my stomach. Gritted my teeth and crawled to hook not far from the handbag. My cell phone was in there. I could save myself. In my ears was the sound of people laughing. They kept mocking me. Brother your sister-in-law's acting is so good. She could win a gold medal. Why don't you help your sister-in-law? We won't be able to have any fun if she keeps pissing. I was sweating from the pain, and my hair at the corner of my forehead was soaked with sweat. Not caring about the ridicule of this group of scum, I felt for my cell phone in my bag, and the moment I shivered and pressed the dialing button, Ethan Hart stomped on my hand and kicked the phone away. Enough. Are you sick? You have to toss the paramedics on New Year's Eve. The pain made me unable to straighten up and I curled up on the floor. I'm really going to have a baby. It's only 7 months old and it's dangerous. It's your baby too. Let me go to the hospital. Unusual pain came from my stomach. I wasn't sure if I had just crushed the baby when I fell. For the sake of the baby in my stomach I put aside my pride and reached out to pull on his pants leg in a humble plea. Give me your cell phone. They'll call ambulance myself. Please. This is your own flesh and blood. Ethan Hart kicked me away and looked at the amniotic fluid-soaked carpet in disgust. I was in so much pain that I lost all my strength and fell to the floor like a dead dog. Ethan Hart half crouched down and choked me. His voice even colder. Ethan Hart half squatted down and choked me. His voice became even colder. What are you pretending to be? If I don't teach you a lesson today, you won't be able to ride on my head and pee on me in the future. For put her in the restroom. Get 2 waiters to clean up the urine stains on the carpet. It's disgusting. The 2 lower-ranking dogs grabbed me by the arms and dragged me into one of the restrooms in the compartment. I screamed to everyone in the room for help. Call 120. Please help me call 120. The little girl accompanying the drinks was a little worried and spoke in a small voice. Boss she looks really uncomfortable. Otherwise, let's forget about it. After all, it's a pregnant woman. Will Tian grabbed the little girl's hair and slapped her. What the hell? It's your turn to question my buddy's decision. The little girl didn't dare to say anything else and smiled with a stiff face. A few other more mature girls laughed. Sister, you're still young. This is just a way for the first wives to get the men. Do you believe that if boss he sends her home, she'll be alive and kicking in no time? Lily Young was so pleased with herself that she pretended to persuade me. Sister Qiao, Mr. He's doing this for your own good. He told you to stay in the toilet and clean up your act so you don't embarrass yourself. Lily Young twisted her delicate waist to sit on Ethan Hart's lap again. She looked back at me and opened her mouth wordlessly to show off. You lose. Outside the door there was a song and dance. Inside the door I was left miserable and desolate. I sat against the wall on the cold floor and slapped the door panel with all my strength. Help! The door was closed, and my already small cry for help was cut off. Like a million nails driven into my body, I recalled the lessons from maternity school. The contractions became shorter and shorter, and I slowly adjusted my breathing to rely on myself to deliver the baby safely. Calm down, Sophia Qiao. You can do it. The baby needs you. Tears and sweat mingled and my voice cried out until I nearly lost it. The area below the belly felt like it had been torn apart alive and the air was thick with the smell of blood. I don't know how long it took, but the situation was getting worse. It hurts so much that the baby can't come out. Panicked and scared, I gritted my teeth and touched the blood underneath myself. Trembling, I wrote with my finger on the frosted glass door of the toilet. SOS in order to attract the attention of people outside. I slapped several bloody handprints on the door. The man who had just come out of the toilet next door was startled and shouted. Brother, something's wrong. There are blood stains all over the toilet door. My sister-in-law may really be in labor. When I heard that someone had noticed something strange, my heart was filled with hope. Baby, hold on. Drunk Ethan Hart sneered. What blood stains? She must have snuck in a bottle of red wine. The baby's only 7 months old. It's not going to be born that soon. Let her act. The man was a bit scared and continued to persuade. Brother, why don't you open the door and take a look? I'm not afraid of anything, but am afraid of what might happen. Ethan Hart didn't care. Lily Young in his arms said delicately. Sophia Qiao has played this game before and insisted he to fire me. You don't know her. She's just upset that he didn't accompany her on New Year's Eve. The person outside the door stopped insisting, and the luster in my eyes dimmed a little. The throbbing pain coming from my stomach brought me back to my senses. No, I can't give up. Baby. Mommy will save you. I took off my jacket and dipped my finger in blood to write a distress message on it. With all my might I trudged up to the toilet and pushed through the ventilation window above me to drop the jacket down the stairs. But the excruciating pain was so intense I couldn't straighten up and my clothes got stuck on the bed. With my lip bitten I finally dropped my clothes. At that moment my feet slipped and I fell backwards. There was a loud thud. The loud noise attracted the attention of the people outside the door. My eyes went black and I heard Ethan Hart's voice. Sophia Qiao. 5 Hearing the loud noise, Ethan Hart ran over and kicked the toilet door hard to vent his anger. He roared. Sophia Qiao, that's enough. Don't go to all that trouble to get my attention. It's no use. I'll naturally let you out when the New Year's Eve is over. Be quiet. I tried to ask for help, but my voice was dry and hoarse. The blood underneath me continued to gush out, and despair spread in my heart. To punish me, he banquet pulled Lily Young against the toilet door to demonstrate to me. Brother, you let Lily go. Sister Joe is still here, she will hear. Lily is not a random girl. Lily Young's refusal to let go of me made Ethan Hart even more aroused. I looked to the window in desperation, praying that someone would find my distress jacket. Outside the door Ethan Hart said softly. Happy New Year, my little wildcat. He was answered with an even more intense kiss from Lily Young. Meow 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 was their entwined figures on the frosted glass door. Seeing this scene brought back memories of my past with Ethan Hart. I was an orphan. I went all the way to college with excellent grades and a scholarship. And Ethan Hart, who was 2 years older than me, first met me at a campus presentation. I spoke on stage as the outstanding student. Ethan Hart said that he fell in love with me at first sight and was haunted by me. Since that day, he's been asking around about me, and he's been hitting on me. Ethan Hart's family is very well off, and I felt that we were not on the same page and turned him down. But he didn't give up and stuck by my side for 2 years. For 2 years he pursued me through thick and thin. I was an abandoned orphan who received very little love. For the first time, I had someone who valued me so much. I agreed to his advances and officially dated. We strolled around campus and kissed on deserted streets. For the first time I knew what happiness felt like. After we got together I found out that he was the illegitimate child of the He family, and that his mother was one of Chairman He's many lovers. He was so concerned about his background that he started his own company after graduation. And Ethan Hart wanted to prove to the He family that he could make a name for himself without relying on them. I accompanied him in his endeavors and made the company a success. Everyone praised us as the perfect couple, match made in heaven, and we were each other's salvation. But everything changed when I got pregnant and lost my figure. My reaction to the pregnancy was so intense that Ethan Hart asked me to give up my job and come home to wait for the birth so that I could get some rest. I agreed, and after I left the company, Ethan Hart hired a beautiful young secretary, Lily Young, who was admittedly very pretty, with the face of an angel and the body of a devil. The first time I met Lily Young was in the break room of Ethan Hart's office. Ethan Hart explained. Ethan Hart explains, "This little girl is the new secretary, the youngest sister in our profession. She is still insisting on going to work even though she is not feeling well during her menstrual period, so I am not afraid that her body will not be able to bear it and let her come in to take a rest." Lily Young spat out her tongue. "Mrs. I'm sorry. We are all women, you will sympathize with me, right?" I felt very uncomfortable and told Ethan Hart to be careful. If she had a real health problem, she should have taken a leave of absence and gone home, instead of lying on a married man's bed with her shaped body. But Ethan Hart said I was too sensitive and not to be too mean to the little girl. Pregnant women are just paranoid. Sophia Qiao, you didn't used to be like that. I suffered and thought it was really my problem. But then I realized that he and Lily Young were getting closer and closer. In the office there were lady slippers that didn't belong to me, women's change of clothes, the pink pendant on my desk, the loose powder in my desk drawer. I found hickeys on Ethan Hart's neck after one of his all-nighters. I asked him if he was cheating on me like a madman, but Ethan Hart just looked at me with a cold, hysterical look on his face, as if he were a madman. "Have you had enough? 6 Go back to bed when you've had enough. I don't want to argue with you. Don't think that just because you're pregnant, I'm supposed to accommodate you unconditionally. It's never going to end, is it?" After the argument, he became even more reckless and disappeared for several days. His neck bears lip marks and scratches left by other women. I was advised by others. "You've been the only one for Mr. He for so many years, and now that you're pregnant, it's inevitable that he'll need you. Men are men. It's good to know you're home. I don't have any family." I've been with Ethan Hart since we started dating. Everyone envied my life as Mrs. Hogs, but they didn't condemn Ethan Hart for being unfaithful. Touching the baby in my belly, I faltered. I couldn't believe that our relationship of so many years would be lost to a young girl. Torment and angst tormented me. I finally chose to bow my head and beg for reconciliation with Ethan Hart, who ignored me, as he always did, until I saw the text message he sent back. I thought he was willing to reconcile, but I didn't realize it was just Lily Young's demonstration and declaration of war against me. How ridiculous. The passionate love of a teenager failed to resist the temptations of the world. 20-year-old Ethan Hart fell in love with me at first sight. And 30-year-old Ethan Hart was in love with another woman. My consciousness slowly faded. I don't know how long it took, but the music outside suddenly stopped. I vaguely heard someone barging in. "Excuse me, we are the security guards of the clubhouse. We just found a bloody shirt while patrolling outside. We need to check the security of the personnel. Please cooperate." The people there were all drunk and confused, and they shouted excitedly towards the security guards. "Happy New Year, sir. You've got it all wrong. We're all celebrating the new year." Well, Sky was drunk and crazy with a bottle of wine. "I don't give a shit, sir. It's just two stinky security guards." "Roll," the security guard asked them with his blood-stained jacket. "Are all of you here? Do we need to call the police?" Seeing the familiar jacket, Ethan Hart blurted out. "This is my wife's jacket. She blames me for not being home with her on New Year's Eve and she's having a tantrum. Everyone condemned me. My sister-in-law is pregnant, and she's been thinking about it all day long. It's not easy for he to come out for air, luckily." The security guards picked up the clothes. If someone who didn't know had gone to the police, it would have been a waste of police resources to report a false case. Sister-in-law is too much. She doesn't let the police rest on New Year's Eve. Brother, this one of yours must be properly disciplined. If you don't marry a good wife, you'll be in trouble for 3 generations. The security guards didn't dare to offend these big shots and were afraid that something might go wrong. One of them quietly asked a colleague of the escort, "Do you have a problem here?" "No, I don't think so. It's just that the big boss wife came over to make trouble and was scolded by her husband and locked up in the toilet." The security guard offered to go to the toilet to make sure I was okay. But Ethan Hart kicked the security guard in the face. Ethan Hart kicked the security guard hard. "What the fuck? My wife is in the bathroom. What the fuck do you want to see? Get your manager over here and I'll file a complaint." The security guard couldn't afford to be offended, so he put down his jacket and left the room. Soon the music started again, and the atmosphere outside became lively again. My eyes went black and I completely lost consciousness. 7 after I woke up, I found myself lying on a hospital bed. My stomach was vaguely aching, and I subconsciously wanted to appease the child in my stomach. But the movement stiffened. The originally high tummy is already a flat. I anxiously rang the bell to call the nurse. The nurse who came over to examine me looked at me with pity and couldn't bear to speak. "You had a preterm labor caused by external forces, and your condition is very bad. Coupled with the lack of timely delivery, the baby suffocated for too long was brought here with no fetal heart. We took out the dead fetus in time to barely save your life. Your body is seriously injured this time. You need to take good care of yourself, or else it will be difficult to get pregnant in the future." After Ethan Hart and his group left the club, the cleaning staff found me unconscious and covered in blood in the restroom. They called 120 and brought me to the hospital. My husband never remembered me in the restroom. He took Lily Young to a different place to continue dashing around. The nurse asked the usual questions about my health and then said, "Your cell phone is broken. We have no way to contact the family. Give me your husband's phone number. I'll ask him to come over to stay with me. You can't have no one around to take care of you now. Really, his wife and child's lives are about to be lost, and he's not staying with you." I gave the nurse Ethan Hart's phone number, but the call went unanswered. I asked the nurse to contact Ethan Hart's other number, and after a long wait, the call was finally answered. "Hello, is this the family of MS? Sophia Qiao. She is now in the hospital and needs," came Lily Young's panting voice from the microphone. It's MS. Qiao's phone. "Sophia Qiao, are you finished? Can you give me some freedom in the new year?" The phone was mercilessly hung up. The nurse indignantly dialed again but showed that the number had been pulled black. "What the hell? Scum!" Seeing that I was not in a good mood, the nurse did not continue to scold. She told me to take a good rest. Your body is the most important thing. If you have any problems, just ring the bell and call us. The stranger I never met cared more about me than my husband, who had been married for several years and lived with me. My heart ached uncontrollably. The price of seeing a man clearly is too heavy. I asked before the nurse left the room. Is my baby a boy or a girl? The nurse lady sighed regretfully. It's a beautiful little girl. I couldn't stop the tears from flowing down my face and soon soaked the bed. I'm sorry mommy didn't protect you, my little princess. I paid for an escort to take care of me and bought a new cell phone. The first thing I did when I turned on my phone was to send a message to Ethan Hart. Let's get a divorce. Soon Ethan Hart's call came in, and even though he was desperately trying to suppress it, I could still hear his anger. Sophia Qiao. Women aren't cute when they're too manipulative. Are you treating our marriage like child's play? Our child is gone. My daughter is dead because of you. Ethan Hart, you don't deserve to be the father of a child. Ethan Hart's tone was filled with impatience. Sophia Qiao, that's enough. Don't threaten people with the baby in your belly. Aren't you just angry that I didn't accompany you alone on New Year's Eve? I'll go home now and stay with you for the next few days. Okay. Before I could say anything, Lily Young's sobbing voice rang out from the phone. Brother, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that Sister Joe minded so much. Ethan Hart dealt with me perfunctorily. Be good and wait for me at home. Hang up. Before I hung up, I heard the sound of a plastic bag being torn open. I couldn't stop myself from throwing up. It was so disgusting. The doctor said I can't leave the hospital yet. I stayed to recuperate. And I didn't hear from Ethan Hart again until the next day. I laughed coldly in my heart. I was afraid that I wasn't too wrapped up in tenderness to get out of it. Seeing that I was unhappy, the caregiver, Sister Sun, talked to me about the hospital gossip when she brought the food over. Ms. Qiao, you don't know how much fun young people are having nowadays. Just now I passed by the emergency hall. A couple of dogs. Hot eyes. Bare skin. My cousin's nephew is an ER doctor. And I heard that those two got so crazy that they became Siamese twins. She spat as she put the food on the table, picking up a magazine and pointing it out to me. I heard that the man is Big Brother's boss and the woman is his secretary. Nah, that's the man. He looks human. I looked. Isn't that Ethan Hart? With a thought in mind. I immediately called the private detective responsible for collecting information on Ethan Hart's marital infidelity. Don't worry, Ms. Joe. We're following you all the way. We'll definitely give you value for your money. Sister Sun next to me had a twinkle in her eye. Ms. Qiao. Is this your capsular? She rubbed her palms together and said with a smile. I'm not used to this kind of cheating scum. So I'll have to do something about it when I meet them. I raised my eyebrows to signal her to continue. I usually just shoot small videos to record the good life. It's just a coincidence that I filmed the couple coming down from the ambulance to being sent to the emergency room, I said. I filmed it on the second floor. No one noticed, and I got a clear shot of their faces in HD. I gave Sister Sun 100,000 to buy the video, and she smiled. Good things come to those who are good, Ms. Qiao. While the iron was hot, I called 110 and called the police. The police sent someone to the clubhouse to collect evidence, and I presented the injury report. However, because it involved a family emotional dispute, Ethan Hart would probably only be detained for a few days at most. Anything more than that would require me to file a lawsuit in court. Moreover, Ethan Hart, one of the parties involved, is currently in the hospital for treatment and cannot enforce the law for the time being. I'm in no hurry. And I'm taking advantage of the time Ethan Hart is in the hospital to have someone step up the collection of evidence. I contacted a lawyer to do a divorce property settlement. I will not let them have a penny of what belongs to me. While my side was in full swing, Ethan Hart was still indulging in tenderness. He thought he was doing a good job of hiding it, and on the day Ethan Hart came home from the hospital, I had already taken care of all the things in the house. All the memories we shared, the wedding photos, the love letters he wrote to me, the jewelry we picked out together. As soon as I got home, he was furious and looked for me everywhere. Sophia Qiao, you've gone too far. I just asked you to go to the toilet to clean up the urine stains. How dare you call the police? Are you out of your mind? Where do you want me to put my face? How dare you falsify the injury record? If you don't go to the police station to explain clearly, we will divorce right away. Ethan Hart stopped dead in his tracks at the sight of the empty walls in the hall. Where are our wedding pictures? I answered indifferently as I turned to face him. Lost it to make room for your new man. Ethan Hart's face instantly went white at the sight of my empty stomach. Wife, where's our baby? 9, I said sarcastically as I rubbed my empty stomach. Thanks to you. The baby is gone, killed by the hand of her own father. Ethan Hart was struck by lightning and his whole body took a few steps back. That's impossible. You lied to me. You're still mad at me, aren't you? By the way, the baby was 7 months old. Premature babies can survive. He excitedly rushed over and hugged me tightly. I'm sorry, wife. I didn't know that you were really going into labor that day. I'm a man, and I can't bear my face when you wet oneself in public that day. Forgive me. Where's the baby? I'm going to see our baby. Ethan Hart rushed to the nursery. When I opened the door, it wasn't the cozy, lovely room we had decorated together. Instead, it was a small shrine with a tiny urn and a baby's ultrasound picture in the middle of the wall. Ethan Hart lost his temper and yelled. It's impossible. I don't believe it. The doctor clearly said our baby was healthy. How could she be gone? You're lying to me. You must be getting back at me. I felt ridiculous. Do you remember how many times I asked you for help on New Year's Eve? If you had believed me then, the baby wouldn't have suffocated and died in my belly. What were you doing while we were dying? You were cheating on your wife. Ethan Hart, you're not human. Ethan Hart stared at me blankly, still refusing to believe it. No. How can you be dead? He came forward in a trance and tried to touch my stomach. I sidestepped it. Don't touch me. It's dirty. Taking out the divorce papers he had drawn up earlier in the day, he handed them to him. I have a lot of evidence in hand that you are the one at fault in the marriage. I get 7 and you get 3 of our joint property. Ethan Hart breathed heavily as he looked at me incredulously. You want a divorce. Our child is gone. Even you don't want me. He looked agitated and incoherent as he tried to justify his behavior. Qiao, you can't dismiss me just because of one mistake. We've been together for 7 years, supporting each other through thick and thin. I just lost my way for a moment. Can't you give me a chance? I promise you to fire Lily Young. You're the only one I'll be with from now on. Okay. What's the point of doing this now? I answered him coldly. Isn't this what you wanted today? Ethan Hart shook his head with red eyes. No. I just wanted you to realize the importance of family. I wanted you to quit your job and be a happy little woman at home, and I was just pissing you off with Lily Young. You're the only one I love. I snorted, my eyes sarcastic. You let other people call her little sister-in-law. You let Lily Young humiliate me in public. You slept with her. If that's the love you have for me, it's disgusting. Because I was an orphan. Because I was pregnant. Because I lacked love, you were emboldened to hurt me. You bet that I had no home, nowhere to go but to be at your mercy. Your love is disgusting. Ethan Hart's voice was filled with bitterness as he clasped his hands over his head and cried. How could this happen? Why did this happen? I didn't mean to hurt you. I watched him crumble, but I didn't feel anything. Sign it. Don't let things get out of hand. It won't be good for you or the company if we go through a litigious divorce. Ethan Hart was powerless to retort. He had been avoiding me since that day, trying to get me to come around. Things dragged on for a month until the paparazzi sent out intimate photos of him with Lili Yang in the past. Every day he didn't agree to a divorce. I put a little bit of material out there. The company's stock price suffered and he had to compromise. Seeing Ethan Hart again, the formerly glamorous Mr. He looked depressed. Okay, I promise to divorce, but the shares of the company in your hand must give priority to me if you go out. He is still the Ethan Hart that I am familiar with, can't be undone. Then cut your losses. He regrets it now, not necessarily because he loves me. He just doesn't want his scandal to affect the company's share price. He regrets that he had something on me and let me take half of his fortune for nothing. Never questioning the truth, but the truth changes with every passing day. The teenager I once loved ended up looking like a different person. Yes, I sold all my shares of the company to Ethan Hart for $20 above market value, and a month later we got our divorce papers. After the divorce was finalized, I sued Ethan Hart for intentional assault. And photos of Ethan Hart and Lili Yang in the emergency room were circulated on the internet. Domestic violence, cheating, miscarriage. Each one of them has made Ethan Hart notorious. With the evidence our attorneys continue to gather, those involved in the violence at the clubhouse that day were sentenced to anywhere from 3 to 24 months in prison. Hoyan was sentenced to 2 years in prison as the main offender and will be sentenced to 6 months in prison. The things he gave to Lili Yang before belonged to the couple's joint property. And I sued the court for repayment. Lili Yang's life went from heaven to hell. After the verdict came out, I bought the big screens in the city's bus stations and major shopping malls to broadcast it. Ethan Hart and Lili Yang became infamous, and the two became social pariahs, and Lili Yang went back to her hometown to live again in anonymity, but she had seen the prosperity of the world, so how could she be willing to be ordinary? As she tries to change her life through marriage, she marries over and over again, but her life gets worse and worse. Ethan Hart goes to jail. And his staff is in turmoil. When Ethan Hart went to jail, his staff was in turmoil. His partners stopped renewing their contracts, and the company soon went into bankruptcy liquidation. I dug out the company's technical backbone and started my own company. It's a long way to go, but I have a long future ahead of me.